Singpost, we all know Singpost super well. My friend's mom actually still works as their neighborhood dispatch delivery person. And so far, Singpost has not really been able to grow that well. Singpost, being one of dominant brands, really should be a lot better than what it is today. But I don't know if you've seen this. Look at their share price performance. It is dropping year by year. Not only that, I'll put up these two charts for you to see. Price per earnings ratio, close to its all-time low. It's actually below its average. Price to book ratio, also at all-time low. What's going on with Singpost, seriously? Singpost is always associated with this e-commerce sexy idea, but today we're going to dismantle that portion of it so you get a better sensing of what's going on. Not only that, I'll also quickly try to explain what's going on with Singpost. Look at this 5-year summary. You'd realize that in 2015, 2016, it was actually generating more profit than it is today. That means they have taken steps backwards. As of 2019, their net profit is only $19 million. Of course, if you look at the next two columns, you realize that underlying net profit is actually $100 million, which is still a decline because if we adjust based on removing certain loss-making subsidiaries, which I'll be touching on for today's video. So what's going on with Singpost? Should it be a good investment for you or not? Today, we're going to discuss fully on that. Hi guys, welcome back. Now, let's pull on these two charts for you to quickly understand about Singpost. Singpost is predominantly based in Singapore. More than 50% of revenue is actually coming from Singapore. The next part of it is in terms of where its revenue segments are actually breaking down towards. The majority of it is in post and parcels, then logistics. Of course, you'll be seeing something on the e-commerce part, but this is actually from financial year 2019. I pulled all this from OCBC's research. I'll leave links below for you just in case you want to investigate further for yourself. But I think let's move on to this third graph over here to quickly understand what's going on with Singpost. This is to show you that in 2016, 2017, they actually started this e-commerce drive from his previous CEO, Mr. Wolfgang. And this e-commerce has really been a drag to its performance operationally and in terms of share price. Mr. Wolfgang has actually tried to move in terms of e-commerce. They actually tried to set up some stuff, buy subsidiaries over in US. And that's why they've actually incurred loss trying to break into that market. That market is not easy. That market is Amazon, for goodness. So in that case, e-commerce has been dragging performance, but as of now and moving forward, e-commerce is no longer going to be that. So also pull on for you to quickly see. This is actually Mr. Wolfgang Bayer. He was a previous CEO and he has been, accused of a few things. Not acquiring subsidiaries properly, not doing enough due diligence, hiring his own people, etc, etc, etc. That is why a new CEO has came in already, and hopefully that is going to really steer Singpost to a different direction, which I can show you some clues of what's turning in those business segments. E-commerce is really a big and growing pie, and if you're interested in Singpost, I guess you're also interested in this e-commerce idea, e-commerce investment idea. But nonetheless, e-commerce, while it's growing, which I'll show you some data, e-commerce is growing worldwide and really benefiting from this pandemic because everybody can't go to shopping malls. Everybody's just ordering from their mobile phones and getting it delivered to the doorstep. That's why I've done this previous video. I don't know if you've seen it already or not. If not, you can check towards the end of the video for links for it. Amazon is really benefiting. Its share price is higher than even before the pandemic. That ridiculous. But nonetheless, let's draw back to e-commerce in Singapore and Singpost itself. Now let's see in this pie chart, you realize that this is done by Statista. It shows the market volume in terms of e-commerce in Southeast Asia. Of course, Indonesia being the biggest population certainly has the biggest pie in terms of e-commerce. But let's focus on the last one, Singapore. As you can see, 2019, Singapore's e-commerce is at 1.9 billion. But what is projected? 2025, almost 2 times more, 200% more. 7 billion is projected in terms of the market volume. That is why Alibaba has actually approached Singpost, to do this collaboration. They've actually started this Quantium Solutions, and they've actually done a JV towards it. At that point of time, I remember Singpost's share price actually spiked up because there's certain excitement that Alibaba is actually Singpost actually became an affiliate company of Alibaba, and together they're investing into Quantium Solutions. And so what you see over here, Alibaba, when it's investing into Singpost and together attacking the e-commerce pie with Singpost, they are looking in terms of the logistics direction. They are not looking in terms of how to do the website, because that is something Alibaba is already very strong on. They've actually acquired Lazada and stuff to do that segment. They want Singpost to really do the legwork, to do the delivery portion, the logistics portion of e-commerce. That is where Singpost really wins. Take a look at this news article over here. It's mentioned by the current chairman, Mr. Kutz. He's also mentioned that they are eyeing 50 to 60% of the domestic e-commerce delivery pie. So when you look in terms of Singpost, they are not the e-commerce platform, they are the e-commerce delivery infrastructure. That part, you need to assess what is its competition. Its closest rival, as mentioned in this article, is Ninja Van, which we will touch on a bit further towards the end of the video. So now let's pull back on the logistics portion, because now you understand when you invest in a Singpost, you're actually investing in logistics part of the e-commerce value chain. And as we've seen over here, I've actually done a summary to show you across the years 2016, 2017, all the way to the most current one. You realize that logistics used to be 8.8 million in terms of profitability, but as of last year, it's actually shrank. This is actually a quarter-on-quarter, third quarter performance. It's actually shrank tremendously. Competition is intense. I think that is something that we cannot discount on. Not only that, Chairman has also mentioned that it's over here, that if we read it, revenue was offset by exit of unfavorable customer contracts for Quantium Solutions. So they have actually entered certain B2B contracts to do delivery, and they have not been profitable. That is why the margins are so terrible. Logistics is really a hard business to get in. That's why if we look at this segment over here, this shows you e-commerce logistics as well as freight forwarding. I'm not an expert in those of logistics. That's why I can only see from the surface what is going on, pull up certain data for you to make decisions. This is not going to be a buy or sell call, but this is really going to deep dive in terms of business-wise what Singpost really is. We see two parts, e-commerce and freight forwarding. E-commerce is expected to increase post-pandemic also. I believe it's very, very likely one of the beneficiaries of this pandemic. But freight forwarding, not too sure. But nonetheless, we see over there profit margin 0.3% negative. In terms of the 9 months, 0.9% negative. That means competition is really hard. Just now we mentioned about Ninja Van. So let's pull out the founders of Ninja Van. Ninja Van is actually, really trying to disrupt this market. I think I've seen more vans from Ninja Van than Quantium Solutions really. So I really don't know how big a market share of Singpost really has in terms of this competition wise. Ninja Van seems to be taking that lead, in my opinion at least. But nonetheless, there's not only Ninja Van. Even Kappa Logistics actually bought this Urban Fox to do logistics. So big players, startups are all eyeing this logistics pie. It's not going to be easy right for Singpost. While they have the postman, while they have the infrastructure, the scooters, etc., the vans, everybody's eyeing this pie. Kappa Logistics, new startup like Ninja Van. So again, this is a competition that's going to be hard. Hopefully Alibaba continues to support the Quantum solution and that revenue, that profitability starts to grow. Now, as we've seen in previous segment, the e-commerce logistics, while it's very sexy, it really is hard to make money from. It's really like a bloodbath over there. But where Singpost really makes money, let's pull up the chart for you to quickly see back. Just now I mentioned about this chart, which shows where its profits from operations are coming from. What we realized, that biggest middle blue, dark blue one, what is it? That's postal. Yes, correct. Singpost is the champion for postal. And while this segment is not sexy, it's really been bread and butter for the last 4 years at least. And it will continue to do so in my opinion. Other than in 2018-2019, it's relatively been flat, about 40 million in terms of profitability for 9 months segmentation of business. But what I want to draw you towards is to understand where the profits are actually coming from. Let's look at this over here. This is actually 2016, 2017. What we see from this segmentation is domestic as well as international. I want you to focus on the international mail part. At that point of time, 2016, 2017, it was 197.5 million. Take a guess, where has this segment grown until? 50% more? 70% more? You'll be actually quite surprised. This is the latest from 2019-2020, 9 months segmentation of business. You realize that international post and parcel has grown to 392.2 million. Now that's almost double. That's fantastic performance. While Group CEO, Mr. William Coates has actually mentioned that domestic mail is reducing. This segment seems to be picking up all the slack because simply everybody's not sending domestic mail to each other. We're not sending love letters. We're just doing emails anyway. Who's sending parcels domestically that much or letters that much? But the international part is really where the juice is coming from. I've actually tried before buying things from overseas. At that point of time, I required Singpost to actually mail it over. I don't know if you've tried before the international post. But in any case, this looks something like that. It's where you want to ship something overseas or you want to bring something from overseas in. It's part of the e-commerce thing. And it's really where Singpost is making its money from. Hopefully, Singpost realizes that it does not need to become Lazada. It can simply do logistics, spend more effort there, and keep this postal part and keep it and do it really efficiently. That is why I see such news as good news. This is actually the Singpost CEO for postal. They have actually a CEO for postal, actually. He's Mr. Vincent. And what he's innovated, his team, is actually to come up with smart mailbox. I haven't tried it myself, so apparently it saves on the timing that it requires in the whole value chain. It saves on manpower. Everything fed inside has actually a smart stamp. I'll leave links below on the video for it, just in case you're curious where Singpost is bringing this. Hopefully it continues to grow the international mail segment, which I believe, this pandemic, it's going to be impacting a lot of business. But for the international mail, the business impact may be a short-lived one. Yes, many countries have lockdowns. We can't send things overseas, get things overseas so quickly. In the short term, they're actually going to see the hit. But in terms of recovery, I think it's almost certain that it's going to recover. Governments are going to allow everybody to start sending things overseas. Trade to be done overseas. Government is not going to allow me and you to fly there easily because we carry the risk of virus, etc., etc. But goods and parcels are going to flow. Inventory, trade is just going to flow. Everybody is going to really be back to normal when it comes to trade, past June kind of a period. So this segment may take a small hit and will continue to see growth. That is where hopefully Singpost doubles down your efforts and deliver returns to shareholders. I don't know if you have any comments. Leave them in the comment section below. I'd like to hear each and every one of them. And again, if you haven't subscribed, smash on the subscribe button. I'll be launching videos every week to help you on financial subjects, financial ideas, as well as financial planning. So again, if you'd like to link up with me one-to-one, look for my links below. I'll see you in a future video. Take care and goodbye.